IACEE, the International Association for Continuing Engineering Education. And we are represented by 4 members of IACEE. Kim Scalzo is the IACEE president, and she's also the director for the State University of New York, or SUNY Center for Professional Development. And the SUNY Center provides professional development and training for faculty and staff across SUNY's 64 campuses. Pat Hall is the Associate Dean of Continuing Education for Science and Engineering in the College of Engineering at the University of Tulsa, which is a private institution in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She has more than 30 years of experience in engineering education and training on the non-credit professional development programs for domestic and international operations. We're so pleased that Dr. Alberto Hernandez was able to join us today, and he is the coordinator of international certification on Lean Six Sigma and the director of R&D liaison for the School of Engineering and Science at the Monterey Institute of Technology and Higher Education, where he also serves as a professor. He has published more than 30 papers and was granted a U.S. patent. I am Linda Crude. I'm the Director of Distance Education Programs for the College of Engineering at North Carolina State University. Here's our agenda for our session. I'm going to talk about what is IACEE, what is the rationale of continuing engineering, continuing education and engineering education. Kim Scalzo is going to talk about IACEE programs and services. Pat Hall will talk about one of the very special services that we offer, which is the CEE Manager Training Programs. Alberto is going to talk about his Latin American experience in delivering continuing engineering education, and I'm going to conclude with a U.S. case study. So, to begin our session, what is IACEE? Well, we're an organization dedicated to advancing and supporting lifelong education and professional development of engineers, scientists, and technology managers. So what is lifelong education? What is continuing education? We believe that it starts with the student graduating either from secondary school or high school or with their first degree. We've had 25 years as an organization of experience in working with providers of continuing engineering education programs. This is basically who we are. We have 312 members in 30 countries. And one of the great things that we do as an organization is to share information about how we work with the delivery, the development, and the partnership for continuing engineering education programs. And we do this through various conferences, through activities that we have today, and also through many of our one-on-one communications. At this time, Kim Scalzo is going to further develop what we do as an organization.
Thank you, Linda. So before I talk a little more about IACEE, I just want to, I think, expand on some of the things that others have been talking about this morning about why this is important. Why do we care about continuing education? And I'm going to share some data that I have to acknowledge I've stolen from our past president, Nelson Baker, who put together presentations that he's been sharing at various meetings around the world. And I think when you see some of this, it'll illustrate very clearly why we care so much about continuing education. So, from the National Center for Education Statistics, learners who are age 25 and over have grown by 41% in the last decade, and are predicted to grow by another 14% this decade. And so it's the number of people who are pursuing education later in life is continuing to increase. And I think many of us around the world are seeing this on our campuses. And further, the number of students who are taking online courses is continuing to increase. And I think we're also seeing this on our campuses. So I think the demographics of the learner are changing, and the stage in life at which they're pursuing education is changing. This graph shows the differences between college attainment between young adults, those between age 25 and 34, and older adults between 45 and 54. And you can see that across the world, the number of older adults who are pursuing education is fast approaching those younger adults who are pursuing it. And in some cases, if you look particularly at some of the countries, it is equal to or surpassing the number of younger adults pursuing education. So further, I think, demonstrating the need to pay attention to this category of learners. So while I think we focus a lot on the baccalaureate degree, we, once students get that degree and go into the workforce, they are continuing to pursue education, and I think we need to pay equal attention to that. Further data showing the composition of the workforce, and again looking at those younger adults versus young, mid, and then older, and you can see that distribution. Again, the older adults are quickly approaching the average age of people that we think about when we think about education. So more data that's showing the differences. This slide is interesting because it talks about the increasing rate of change with new technologies and how long it's taking for new technologies to reach market. So when you look at where things started, with things like satellite and cable TV, and then come up to the iPhone and the iPad, rapid change. So people who are in the workforce are dealing with change at a pace that is unprecedented and continuing. And so the need for people in the workforce to be maintaining their technical skills is, something that is just incredible. Further, jobs are evolving. I think we've heard this. People graduating today from college are going to be pursuing jobs that don't even exist today. And so how can we possibly prepare them in their, bachelor's or baccalaureate degree in engineering for jobs that don't even exist? We've got to be able to help them be prepared for those jobs that will be coming, and look to continuing education as an opportunity for that. Again, degree knowledge can't possibly last a career. 90% of the world's data has been generated in the past 2 years, and technical information is doubling every 2 years. So I think what many of our campuses are talking about is, preparing students in their baccalaureate degree for foundational knowledge, and with the expectation that as they go out into the workforce, specific technical knowledge is going to have to be renewed on a regular basis, and we do that through continuing education. Perspectives of individuals and organizations, I think, on being in the workforce and on things that are important to them. So on average, individuals will have 11 jobs over the course of a career. Definitely not the way that I think most of us in the audience and even our parents thought about this, but it's definitely the way our students are thinking about this and experiencing it. And employers, 64% of employers that were surveyed reported difficulty in finding qualified applicants. I remember in my previous role, I was at an engineering university, and in talking to a board of our corporate partners, they almost unanimously said their single greatest challenge is maintaining the technical currency of their workforce and being able to bring in people who met their qualifications. So they were needing to do education once they came on board. And then another illustration of the continuum of learning. So a lot happens in those very early years, but then professional development is an ongoing need once people get into the workforce. And we have to just keep that in perspective. And what I like about the slide is it even shows that once you get past retirement, people who are going into retirement today are continuing to seek opportunities to learn and to apply those skills that they're learning for the field that they've been a part of. And we see that. And it's really, I think, something that I'm not sure we're leveraging quite enough or acknowledging or facilitating. Another interesting piece is that when you talk about continuing education and what's happening past the baccalaureate degree, people are looking for stackable credentials. So things that can build on each other, that are more modularized, that are focused on the tasks and the roles that they're playing in their jobs. And so looking at what's happening both at the credit and the non-credit side, looking at different types of formats and learning. We're hearing lots about MOOCs and badges and competency-based education. And so there's, I think, a lot of opportunities to customize and provide very flexible formats for continuing education in the workforce. Professional certificates are becoming, I think, very popular. We've been doing them. It's not new. It's not like we've never been doing them, but I think they're being more recognized, and people are looking for them more frequently. So, in conclusion, from our perspective, we really feel like professional education is the future of higher education, and we're thrilled to be here today to talk with all of you about how we can work with the engineering community. You know, we come to these conferences and we feel like we talk a lot about what happens within the baccalaureate degree, but we don't talk enough about what happens after that. And so we really want to have a dialogue with you. We're thrilled to be part of this event and to kind of have that conversation about the full spectrum of education that includes professional development after the baccalaureate degree, to provide relevant learning solutions for students and employers. How can we design programs to give students real-world solutions, and how can we broaden that education conversation beyond just granting the degree? So that's a little bit about why we feel like this is so important. It's the world that we live and work in every day, and we want it to be a broader conversation. For those of us in this field of continuing education or continuing engineering education, some of the things that we struggle with is that on our campuses and in the engineering community, the scope of engineering education is often defined by faculty with the ending of the baccalaureate degree. And all of our organizations vary in what they do, how they operate, and how they function across different geographic regions and types of organizations. So somebody in my role, or in Linda's role, or Pat's role, or Alberto's may not exist from campus to campus. It's not like we're all deans of engineering, or we don't all have the same title or the same role. So reaching each other can be a challenge. And peers and mentors for us, because we may be the only one on our campus doing this, we often have to reach out. It doesn't exist within our campus. And then as we look to the leaders of our organizations, the value proposition for lifelong learning within higher ed is not always clear to our executive leaders. So we are looking to you in this audience to help us with that. As continuing engineering education, because we work in, kind of a global environment, and in IACEE, we bring together CEE professionals from around the world, we have some opportunities. So we have providers that come from academia, industry, professional societies, and we really, I think, hear from each other a diversity of perspectives and really can see what this means and what this looks like from the different types of entities. Partnerships and collaborations is at the core of what we do. I don't think any of us, when we think about our jobs and our daily lives, partnerships and collaboration are just inherent in everything that we do. So coming together around these issues is very natural for us, and we're fortunate to have a global network within IACEE to reach out to. What we find is that by sharing and networking globally, we increase our capability, all of us, to do this well, and to support the community of practicing engineers. And that's really the purpose of IACEE. So this slide talks a little bit about the opportunities that we provide to our members, and I know some of you in this audience are members of IACEE, and if you're not, I would encourage you to think about that. So we have a wealth of information on our website. We have an IACEE quality program, which talks about standards for providers of continuing education globally that has been vetted across countries across the US and Europe and China and Latin America, and we're looking for broader involvement in that project. We have the Manager Training Program for Continuing Engineering Education, which Pat is going to talk in more detail about, so I won't say much about that. We have some events coming up. We have a World Conference in Portugal next year. We'd love to see some of you there. We have awards as an opportunity, and we have a regular newsletter called the IACEE newsfeed that we distribute, so providing some contact information there. And Linda referenced the global conversation that we try to facilitate, and here are some of the ways in which we try to do that. We have a LinkedIn group, which you can access from our website. In addition to our World Conference, which we do every 2 years, we also have regional events throughout the year and in those off years that we participate in. And we have several special interest groups around the areas or issues that are important to our members, and I've given you the contacts for those there. So, so there's lots of ways that we try to engage the global community, and again, what we find a lot is that we're talking to ourselves, and what we would love is to have the opportunity for organizations where this might be on the fringe or on the side, or maybe you don't have a director of continuing engineering education, but this is something that you are trying to do or is a part of what you do, to connect with us in any of these ways that we're talking about, because we think by broadening the community even more and engaging more people in the conversation, we can all support each other better. So, so that's very quickly a little bit about IACEE. I want you to be able to hear about the manager training program and our 2 case studies, so I'm going to ask Pat to come up next.
Thank you, Kim. So how many here are actually members of IACEE? Do we have some members here?
I know we do.
Yes, I knew Eric, you were. Okay. Professional development, as Kim was talking about, is so important to our institutions. I just received not long ago an email from a director of development in my institution saying, are there some ways that we can actually work together? I know that you do in-company programs with companies all over the world, so can we make that work for us all the way around? Of course we can. And that's one of the reasons why continuing education at your institutions is so important. So at IACEE, we have recently, I say recently, it's been the last 4 years or so, have developed a CEE manager training program. And we're very excited about this, and the word is getting around, and I'm starting to get lots of comments and people asking questions about it. I just wanted to kind of point out a few of the purposes. Why are we doing a CEE managers training program? And it is really for experienced as well as new continuing educators. And when I say experienced, it is fantastic to see some of the people who have actually been continuing educators for several years, but they come into these programs and they learn something new. They learn something else to take out to industry and to work with people and collaborate. So these are international in scope because we are a global organization of IACEE. These workshops that we conduct within the CE Manager Training Program are very interactive. They're also very creative. So we're looking to do things in new ways. Not what you've always been doing, but do things in new ways. And they are based on proven techniques and strategies. So we find experts out there that have not only been doing these things for many years and have the knowledge, but we also know they're doing a lot of current research in it and really know what they're talking about. Our goals. We have several goals here, but promote quality lifelong learning certainly is very important to all of us. We do encourage international relationships and partnerships. All of the institutions within IACEE do partnerships with a lot of international places. We really do an awful lot of that work and have been doing that for many years. The improving CE training around the world, trying to get all of us somewhat on the same page and talking together and sharing. The value-added credentialing. There really is no place that continuing educators can be recognized for the knowledge and skill sets that they do have. So we're authenticating that by offering the CE Managers Training Certificate Program, in which they earn a badge, and I'll go in that in just a moment. And another one of our goals, of course, is to increase visibility of IACEE. Obviously, that's why we're here today. That's why we do present and talk at various conferences. We attend all the various conferences, because this is an organization that your institution should be interested in as well. So if you have continuing education within your institutions, no matter what they're called, they could be extension, they could be online, whatever it's called, you want to get involved with that and get them interested in IACEE so they will learn more and more about how to help your institution. So we do provide a significant benefit to the members, and this is just one of the benefits of this, is the CE Manager Training Program. Badging. How many of you are real familiar with badging? Good deal, okay. So what we do here, those of you who are not, a badge is a unit of measurement to recognize what individuals have acquired through a training program. Okay, it's just as simple as that. But they can earn 4 badges and receive a certificate from IACEE. They complete a workshop. They work on an actual assignment or project in which they are going to take the tools, the things they learned from the workshop, back to their own institution and apply those. So once they apply those, they will send in the assignment to us. Our leading experts who taught the workshops will be reviewing it, and also people within the council for IACEE will be reviewing it. And it's not only that they send in the assignment and say, okay, I've done that, here it is, I completed it. No, it's not that simple. They actually do gain a lot from this. We provide them with a lot of feedback from the leading experts that give them some suggestions even of, okay, you've done this, now what about this? Look into these types of things. So the learning curve is tremendous here. As I mentioned, it takes 4 badges to meet the criteria for receiving the certificate. These are a couple of the workshops we have conducted already. E-marketing through social media and online tools, presented at IACEE 2014 World Conference at Stanford. We had marketing experts from Stanford as well as from University of Michigan that participated in this and helped with doing the assignment and helping with it. Another one was managing the brand, how to thrive in a competitive global market, which was conducted at ASEE's CIEC conference in Palm Springs, California this past February. And these were all designed for an international market. So that's just a couple of the ones that we have. So how do we determine what it is we present and include as a part of the CE Manager Training Program? I did a survey several years ago to our members of IACEE asking them, what topics are most important to you? What came to the top was marketing strategies, demand analysis, how do we figure out whether we should do these things or not, managing the brand, what is branding, what can we do with that, how much more can we do with it, learning and delivery technology applications, and international and global competition. So these were the things they felt were really important topics that we needed to address in the CE Manager Training Program. In addition to that, the CE Manager Training Program projects also does knowledge share moments. These are tips, so to speak, that we send out to the members, so it's just another benefit of being a member of IACEE, that you will receive on a monthly or at least every quarter some information that's really helpful to your institution and to your continuing educators. So we've had 7 knowledge share moments to date. If you're interested in those, there's the website up here for IACEE. You will find that under resources, and so take a look at that and see some of the excellent tips that people have given on various things that they are experts in, and they're willing to share this with your institution. Upcoming workshops. Please take note. I have a flyer in the back of the room, and this will tell you not only about the CE Manager program offered through IACEE, but it also on the back will tell you about these 2 upcoming workshops that I hope you will consider attending or have your continuing education professionals attend it. Excuse me. Building and marketing CEE programs for global engineering workforce. This will be offered at the World Engineering Education Forum in Florence, Italy, this September. Soma Chakrabarti will be part of that workshop, and I will be as well. Building and marketing international CEE programs and strategies and forming partnerships. This will be done at the ASEE CIEC 2016 conference in Austin, Texas. So you see you have an international opportunity there. I know some of you wouldn't mind going to Florence, would you? And you also have one in the U.S. to be able to attend as well. We're going to be talking about international partnerships, what we have been doing internationally. How has it worked? How does it not work? What do we need? What are some of the issues and concerns we have with it? Also, I know Kim mentioned the World Conference, the next World Conference for IACEE. We do these every other year. It's in 2016. We'll be in Porto, Portugal. I'd like to see all of you there. I know you would love to come as well. It would be a beautiful place. Look for 2 pre-conference workshops there that we're going to be putting together. Sue Bray, who is also a member of IACEE and on the council, is in charge of looking at sending out RFPs for this workshop. So if you have people within your institution that might be interested in conducting a workshop, let us know. Send something to Sue Bray's email that's up here, and let her know that you have an interest in it. There will be 2, as I mentioned, 2 pre-conference workshops. They'll be very different in nature, so if you have something there, be sure and try to submit something to us. Okay. Any questions on that so far? Okay, sounds good. Alberto, I'm going to turn the program over to you now. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yes?
Actually, I just want to ask, I couldn't see any course in particularly advanced technology. We are focusing towards managers only.
No, not just managers only, because I did mention it's for new people in continuing education as well as experienced people. So it could be people who are aspiring, who want to be a manager in continuing engineering education, okay? Does that answer your question? I'm not sure I heard all of it, but.
I mean, focus should be engineering education, so instead of that, we are focusing more on management.
Okay.
So we can talk later.
Yeah, we can talk later on that, so.
Okay, is it working? Yes. I'm going to talk about the integrated industry academic research model for continuous education that we have at the Tecnológico de Monterrey experience in Monterrey, Mexico. Well, here there are some in our university. Did you know that employers complain our graduate students lack practical experience? Graduate students do research in topics unrelated to real world. Students complain internship projects are not relevant to their programs. Research professors don't want to deviate from their research and development activities to participate in our continuous education programs. And our continuous education program for industry is performed mainly by external consultants. Okay, so what we're imagining down there in our new model is to imagine a continuous education program where professionals from industry are taught by our best professors. Professors participate with topics related with their research and courses. Graduate students do research in real-world challenges of professionals from industry and advised by their own professors. And undergraduate students collaborate with professionals to help them execute the projects while advised by graduate students and our professors. Well, how are we trying to do that? In our traditional model, here we have the market needs, and we, from industry, we have their training for their human resources. And we have the market need. University, we develop or we design training programs, and we get the resources, money. Okay? Milk the cow. That's a traditional model. How can we change that? How are we changing that? First, let me tell you a little bit about our university, Tecnológico Monterrey. It's all around Mexico, 31 campuses in 25 cities and 5 campuses that are more related with research and development. And we are And we have international office, very active in continuous education in South America, in Panama, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru. And we have others, but this in South America and Central America are very devoted to all of our educational and continuous education program. And we have like 100,000 students and 10,000 professors, and we right now are ranked in as a first, second university in Mexico, and in Latin America in the first 10, and the world in the 250 around. Okay, so, but right now we are aiming our university to go and be the first one in Mexico, one of the 5 tops in Latin America, and of the 100 in the world. And we need a lot of help to do that. Basically, one of the points that we need, one of the aspects is the research. So right now we have some publications, a lot of our research that we're doing, but we have to improve that. And the idea is, one of the strategies was to include the continuous education as part of the effort. For instance, here, let me explain you how that will work. We have the research areas that are strategically defined. We have 8 of those, and 4 are related with engineering, like something you are related with mechatronics, communications, biotechnology, and sustainable development, and all of the IT. And those are divided in subtopics that there are around 40, all of them, and 20 are related with the engineering. So the idea is that we want a model where each one of those subgroups, focus groups that we're talking inside of them, like 400 researchers, all of the researchers are our research people is in these subjects. How can we have those related with continuous education and to bring the best efforts to our industry? So going from the traditional model, a model where we relate the industry, academic, and research development. So here we have our lines of research. And those are the university define what are those that I just showed you. And the idea is that they help us to fulfill our mission and go into the rankings. And at the end, the result, we want papers, patents, funds, prestige and ranking, and technology-based startups. And from the university, from the industry, what we want is that related with those strategic lines to have problems and opportunities, and we want to work with, solve them, help them solve, in order to have innovations of the problem, technology development, patents, and of course the human resource development as part of, as an integral part of it. And here, how are we going to do it? With students, master and PhD degree students working those problems, and undergraduate students being certified in certain topics related with these strategic lines, and specialized knowledge for our students, experience in order to get, so that we give the experience, high-level resources to industry, and our students get practical experience in job opportunities, and of course opportunities for networking and job opportunities. I'll give you an example of myself. I have been working like 20 years in a certification program in a very standard topic right now, like Six Sigma, now Lean Six Sigma. Right now, the innovation line, because those lines are really very traditional right now. We can say it weren't 20 years ago, but right now they are. We're, in our group, we're moving into lean innovation for Six Sigma, so meaning develop products fast and good, high quality. What we do is that we train the people from industry, want us to train them to be green belts, black belts, and all of that probably some of you are familiar with. But the problem is that when they begin to be trained, the problem is that they see that it's not easy to do a project, and they don't have time in their companies. They thought that just sitting there, they're going to get certification. Bad news, that's not the way. They have to perform the project, to do the projects. So what we do is we bring our undergraduate students that we're teaching and give them a certification, and they're going to help them to do the projects. So the students, on the other hand, say, oh, you want me to do a academic certification in Greenbelt, but I don't have a project. How do I do that? Well, you're going to work in one of the projects of our continuous education program. They need help. And the other students, oh, I need some topics, relevant topics. Oh, there is this people from industry who is working on this and that, and you're going to be related, and you're going to see what are their needs. And now that we're inside like a Trojan horse, already inside of the company, we're going to look for these challenges. Okay? And in that way, and the professor is going to be giving all of that training in topics that are relevant for the research in the same courses that he's teaching to the students in the undergraduate and graduate level, because they are required to teach in graduate and undergraduate, right? So in that way, everything is happy. The professors are doing their job, and the projects are doing by the students, and we close all the gaps. So right now, what we're having is an education program where professionals from industry are taught by our best professors. Professors participate with topics related with the research and courses. Graduate students do research and real-world challenges of professionals from industry and advised by their own professors. And undergraduate students collaborate with professionals to help them execute the projects while advised by graduate students and our professors. So that's our model. Thank you. Is there any question? No?
We'll have time for questions at the end.
At the end, yeah, sure.
There you go.
I'm going to do a little bit different type of a case study, and that is that North Carolina State University is a provider of continuing engineering education. We have been doing this for more than 30 years, but what we were doing was asking faculty to get in a car or get on an airplane and drive somewhere. And we call that distance ed, because they are going a distance, okay?
Okay.
Then we said, when faculty said, I can't do this, it takes too much time to get in a car and drive all the way to Asheville, or drive all the way up to another location. So we said, okay, let's start capturing your lectures, and we'll put them on videotapes. Do you remember those boxes we used to have? Videotapes. And we would make all the videotapes and send them out to the students. Then we said, you know, I was spending $150,000 a year in postage mailing out these tapes. And when I came to North Carolina State University in 2002, we had only one distance education program. We now have, beginning this fall, 16 online graduate degree programs, 2 graduate certificates designed for special companies, and then we have some site-based programs. Those locations the faculty were driving to, we decided to put personnel and staff there so that we could have some real site-based programs. So what we have done is that we have put in our college mission that we want to meet the lifelong learning needs of our alumni and other professional engineers. Now, our problem was we were just staying within the confines of North Carolina. Then with videotape and satellite, we moved out to other states. But we wanted to expand our programs overseas. And Engineering Online is kind of the unit that I direct, and we wanted to know how could we do that. And we thought if we could partner with a corporate international organization, that this would give us experience. And we were very blessed when Company X came to us. Legally, I can't tell you the name of this company, but it is called Company X, and they said, would you deliver and partner with us? continuing education programs in the form of graduate courses and graduate degrees. Now, we know for this company and for any company, it is important for them to recruit and retain graduates to be globally competitive. We have one of the largest career fairs on the East Coast. We have over 300 companies and 2 days of career fairs. This is one of the companies that kept coming to us, hiring our graduates. We have the Department of Nuclear Engineering faculty who voted unanimously that they would create an online master's degree in nuclear engineering for this organization because the nuclear engineering company site was in our state. So our faculty got involved when they better understood the needs of the corporation. This company also knew that it needed to better train their current employees to keep up with technology changes. And then they need to build the talent within their company so that they could serve as leaders. Now, this company puts continuing education and lifelong learning as part of their key components in hiring and retaining engineers. So they go out and they try to get the best graduates they can get. And the first year of employment is that these graduates go through a very rigorous training portion. They go back and they kind of say, this is what you should have learned in college, but we're going to tell you how it relates to our business units. So you'll be amazed that it's sort of like when you go out student teaching, you've had 4 years of classes in X, Y, and Z, and now you've got to teach. And you've got to pull all that information together. That's what this company decides to do. And we work with them in providing credit for these courses. Then they said, well, we also have some older employees in the organization. We want to give them the opportunity to go back, take graduate courses, and get graduate degrees. And with our certificate programs, this is going to be for people who already have master's degree, but maybe their job has shifted and they need to learn some more competencies in this specific area. So this is our next step. And this company selects certain universities to participate in their educational program. So out of our 16 online graduate degrees, they have approved 9 of those degrees for their employees worldwide. Well, this is what we've learned. I started working with them about 5 or 6 years ago, and we know that there are some cultural differences when we go abroad. Hans, I know you're just surprised at that, but there's a little difference. Now, ESL, you probably heard English is a second language. I just read about the new term EAL. English as another language, okay? And I think this is important because when somebody calls me, and I'm going to use Brazil, they fluctuate between Portuguese and English. And I just have to sit there and say, can we go over this again? Can you say this in English? And when they write, sometimes they get many of their languages kind of in a different order. So we are learning how to respect the differences now in students that are remaining where they are and not coming over to our campus. We definitely have some academic integrity issues that are of great concern to our faculty. However, I will guarantee that this company is very concerned about the ethical conduct of their employees. If we have any issues related to cheating on exams, that employee and that proctor will be dismissed from that company. So I've been able to tell our faculty that we know that many of the organizations with whom we work are very dedicated to the academic integrity of what we deliver. We've had some issues related to a translation of transcripts. These individuals overseas do not understand that we do not understand their international transcript. So to try to tell them that it needs to be translated, we need to know the name of the course, the amount of credit, and the grade, and work with them to get that in. Means that they may not be getting admitted to the degree programs as quickly as others. So we're trying to work through that with them very carefully. And then we have to offer the right courses to their employees to make sure that they complete the corporate goals. They have to put together a plan of work for the corporation, and they have to put together a plan of work for us. Sometimes the company doesn't like all of the online courses that we offer, so we work with them in trying to deliver what they need. We have some business challenges. First of all, the payment of tuition and fees in a timely fashion. By state law, we cannot pay for the wire of funds cost from the wiring expense in their country to when we receive it in our bank account. So there's some issues that we have to look at. Many countries can only allow so much of their dollars to leave their country at a time. They don't understand that we need payment in U.S. currency. So these are some issues that we've looked. One of the latest issues that I think is important for us is the legality of the degree in certain countries. If this employee stays within that company all of his or her career, there's not going to be a problem because that company recognizes our degrees. But if this individual leaves and goes to company Y may not recognize our degree. Now, the transcript and the diploma never says Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering via distance ed. It just says Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, North Carolina State University. There's no difference. The academic requirements are the same, the courses are the same, the exams are the same. But we have noticed that in some countries, they're a little concerned about our accreditation issues. Do we need to accredit our program in those countries? That's something that we need to look at. We know that in the U.S., we have to, in a sense, apply and pay for the privilege to deliver our distance education courses to various states. We have done that, and we can now deliver our courses to 49 of the 50 states. We couldn't afford Minnesota. Okay? So the students, employees of 3M, they have to go across the border into Wisconsin and get a post office box or whatever. So we're wondering if we've done that in the U.S., is this going to be something we're going to have to do internationally?
You do.
And then something that's been very interesting to me is taxation, the country business laws, and VAT taxes. Really? VAT taxes? Now, I understand when I'm a tourist and I go abroad, I get a VAT tax. But now that we are delivering a product to someone else, that we're going to have to pay VAT taxes. And for a public institution, that's going to be a great challenge. How do we do that? If we don't pay for the wire payment services, how are we going to pay for a tax on our own product? Here's some more lessons that I've learned. First of all, we really need to train our faculty of how to work with international students overseas and these communication issues. It's much easier when they come to our campus. We talk to them face to face. Now, we have found that when English is another language, these students communicate much better via text or through our message boards. But sometimes when I require the faculty to have online office hours, the communications using a telephone or Skype is not the same as perhaps in the written communication. We love students when they come to Raleigh, North Carolina, our campus. They learn our customs. They learn how to be an NC State student. We have to show them the policies, the procedures, and I want them to feel like no matter where they are in the world, they are part of our Wolfpack family. I've also learned in these past few years that distance students take twice as much customer service time of our staff than on-campus students. International students from a corporation take 3 times as much customer service because they're not familiar with our policies and procedures. We have to train the corporate liaison at that country office about our procedures, so that when we send out our proctoring information, they understand that this is North Carolina State University, this is not another American university. We may have different procedures. We certainly know that at one country, that organization could be having classes come from 3 or 4 different universities. So all this revolves into more service, more understanding of who our new customers are, and making sure, and this is my goal, no matter where the student is located in the world, they're going to get the same quality education from our program as those residing in the United States. Kim's going to talk about some wrap-up, and then we'll have some Q&A.
I want to say thank you to Linda and to Pat and to Alberto for sharing their experiences, and hopefully this has helped you think a little bit more about continuing engineering education as an important part of the spectrum of engineering education. As a reminder, we do have some events coming up in the next year or so, and we'd love to see you at those events engaging with us and bringing the appropriate folks from your organizations to those events to be part of our dialogue. And lastly, I want to thank the organizers of this event for allowing us to be part of it and to have this conversation about continuing education with all of you, because I know I've been to this event for a few years now, and it's a wonderful community of people that comes together that is really thinking critically about engineering education and how we support the students and the faculty and the engineers that are out there solving the grand challenges of the world. I love being part of this community, and I really appreciate the opportunity for IACEE to have a little more visibility and to try and make some more connections between what all of you are doing and what we're doing. And so I hope that was helpful to you. So let me now open it up for questions for any of us in the room. Yes.
Yes, Linda, I understand what you have, the progress you have regarding continuing education on long distance, but one of the things that we found out in Tecnológico de Monterrey, the first time we did these training courses was for our own professors, okay? And it was terrible because they were very critical. So we decided to start with the training on pedagogy in a different way when you are doing this online, and at that time on satellite, okay, but online. So my question is to you, what type of training you do have for your the people doing this continuing education to ensure that the pedagogy is there, the didactic techniques are there, and especially that now is going to be now that you are having the millennials as a continuing education market, okay? And are you doing something special to accommodate the new millennials, the millennials coming into the market of continuing education? And if so, what are you doing?
Well, we do provide, I hate to say the word training for our faculty, but we do provide professional development for our faculty. And I think that the faculty are most concerned about how to use the technology, and we have to do what I'm going to call the andragogy, how to teach adults aspect, more than the, how to teach the college students. And it is a challenge because I have some faculty who started back in 1984. And we call them the cavemen generation, okay? And moving them down to this new generation that has a little bit better knowledge of how to use technology. But that technology aspect, again, is what they're so worried about, what we have to do. Can I write on a board? Perish the thought that an engineering faculty could not write on the board, right, deans? Come on, we got to write on the board. How can we capture that? Now we have to get into them, and this is what we sit down with them and talk about. These are our students. This is where they are located. This is their responsibility. and how can we better work with them, communicate with them, interact with them. And the comments about, the business aspects, the faculty don't want to know all the little issues. They just want to be able to come in and know that we're going to capture their lecture. It's going to go to the students registered in their class, and we have made sure that the students understand how to connect with them and communicate. But we do sit down with them, and I do personally on a one-on-one, and then we have workshops, and the key is to provide food. If you provide food, they will come.
Yeah, exactly. And if I could just add to that very briefly from the SUNY perspective, we actually, we're doing a lot in online learning with the target being the workforce of our state for economic development. And we have a Center for Online Teaching Excellence that provides a series of professional development activities for faculty and for instructional designers. So we provide them with professional development, which involves taking them through the development of an online course where they participate as a student in an online course. So they get to have that experience. We focus very much on interactive learning, engaging the students. And in addition, we recommend that our campuses provide a team of people to work with the faculty, instructional designer, instructional librarian to help bring materials to the table, and also multimedia developer to help develop an engaging interactive learning experience. So we provide professional development, but also a support infrastructure. It's very important, and I was thrilled to hear the conversations earlier about the preparation of faculty for this, because it's very important.
Let me add to that. I think what she said is extremely important, that we have resources on our campus that they don't know how to access. So we have a distance education librarian also that helps the faculty to know what resources are there in case the students need perhaps to do some additional study.
Yeah.
But when you have to think about all the things that we're saying that we're providing the same degree as we are on campus, there are a lot of resources that sometimes faculty aren't aware of that are available.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning. Wonderful panel, I guess. My name is Autumn Reed. I'm with the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and my question is regarding the NC State program. I think it's a fabulous program. However, my question is, are your staff or faculty receiving any intercultural communication training skills to negotiate some of those misunderstandings and mitigate some intercultural dynamics that might be at play in dealing with your international students at some of your international sites? I know in your presentation you had talked about communication issues arising from maybe Skype and not being face-to-face, but I think communication's a little bit more nuanced than that, and just some of the power dynamics that might be at play.
That's my next goal.
Excellent.
Okay, because I wanted to start small. We're not overseas like our little counterpart down in Atlanta. It's in 111 countries, okay? We're right now in about 24 countries, but a lot of that's American military. So right now we're in 5 countries and learning through this partnership. And this is something that has been on my radar for several years, that we need to do this. So if you have a good person I can hire to come in, let me know.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah.
I'd like to also just
Yeah. Oh, one more.
Did you phone and tell me?
Can you use the mic, Pat? Can you use the mic?
I'd also just like to add real quick that as a member, another benefit of IACEE, I just have to mention this, but Sue Bray that I brought up a few minutes ago, she does global cultural training, and she has helped all of us to learn more and more about how to communicate internationally and how the various high context, low context, et cetera, in dealing with different countries. So again, that's just another advantage in how we do learn, so that we can then help our faculty, the people who are teaching for us, to do a better job to address those issues.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning that, Pat. Yes.
Actually, we are working with the COIL Center that you have.
Yes.
And precisely what we are doing now is measuring these intercultural aspects, okay? Because we are going to have students from Mexico and universities working together, and we are very, very interested in how to get those intercultural aspects taken into account. Sometimes we have had people from Germany working with us and Korea with our groups of students, and it's really very difficult. The German people were all no, this way, and on time and everything, okay, that you say it what it is. And then the other people say, well, you know, it's different, and they need to know that because in the future they will be working that way.
That's right. That's
so
right.
everybody needs to have that sensitivity, okay? So, but we are working with the COIL, okay, center that you have over there.
Excellent. That's really great. Thank you.
Make a comment that at the World Conference, we learned from our colleagues from Japan that they had a program where their Japanese students did a project with German students, and they said they learned better English working together than they did working with Americans. Now, I don't have an accent. I don't but that's an example.
I want to just come back to what you mentioned. I think you're talking about the COIL Center from SUNY. So we have at SUNY, we have a Center for Online International Learning. And the focus of that center, and it's not specific to continuing education, although there are some courses in that spectrum, but it's really education as a whole. And the idea is to partner up a faculty member from the U.S. with a faculty member outside of the U.S. to jointly teach a course to their joint class of students. So the faculty are collaborating on the course design, and they are jointly teaching the course using online learning technologies. And so the faculty and the students are both learning to kind of change their frame of reference to kind of face head-on some of these cross-cultural communication issues, and it's proving to be very powerful. Again, both for the faculty and for the students. And again, we support them with instructional designers and with folks from our campuses from international relations to help deal with a lot of the issues that they're going to come up against. So it's another really good model. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes? On COIL, we do. There's a conference every year that happens on that. If you want to see me afterwards, I can forward information to you. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah, thank you. If anybody else is interested in that, just see me afterwards. Other comments, questions?
Yeah, I think I'll add a little bit about, we have faculty, at Boston University, we have been ranked, US News is ranked as 2nd, 3rd, and 7th, I think, for all our online programs. But so we succeeded. we have succeeded in changing our cavemen very successfully. It took us very modest steps of just giving them all a USB headset. That's about it. That's the giving them a USB headset solved that problem. And I think the biggest risk in online education is certainly the online students. If they don't have good bandwidth, the whole thing is a disaster for the whole class, actually, because you can end up spending 30 minutes of your class just saying, can you hear me? I can't hear you. And there are chat sessions coming from there. I can't hear the professor, and the other students are saying, I can hear him. And it's just the whole thing is a disaster. Once again, the solution there is to FedEx them a USB headset. And that solves the problem. The technology is the single most stumbling block in success, both at the faculty end and at the student's end. So
it's very variable. I think that's a really good point. Yeah. Other comment? I'm sorry? Yes? Who? Subre has her own company called, well, actually 2 companies, New Vistas and what's the other one, Pat? What is it?
Mindspring.
Well, that's her email address. Keys to Culture, that's her other one. That's focused on the cross-cultural communication. She's a member of IACEE. She's on the council, and she is available to do coaching and professional development around cross-cultural communications. Yes, very active in the global community and a tremendous resource for anybody who's looking for help in that area. Absolutely.
She works with distributive teams. So many of the industries and so forth are working with teams around the world. So they may have somebody in Houston based, somebody else in another country and so forth, in various countries, and again, helping to communicate and be more successful as a team with them.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? So I just have a call. I just have a question for all of you. How many of you have a role in continuing education in your organization, wherever you are? Anybody here? Okay. Okay, some of you, fabulous.
Good deal.
Please engage with us at whatever level it makes sense for you. How many of you have people in your organizations who do continuing education? Right, many more of you. We have challenges in connecting with them. Please help us connect with them so that they can join our community and we can share our resources and the benefits of IACE with them. And yes, Pat's holding up the manager training program. We would love to have them involved. Our primary purpose in being here today is to connect what we do with what you do. And we hope that this has been as helpful to all of you as it has been to us. So thank you very much.